In this video, I'm going to give you the tools to help you play better golf by showing you how to hit a high, a low shot, a fade and a draw. Dead simply 4 balls, 4 different ball flights to help you play better golf. So before we start and I show you the 4 shots, why is it important to have these shots in the locker? Well, if I'm honest, it just helps you play better golf because the conditions out on the golf course can vary all the time. As you know, it might be windy, so you might want to play it lower. The greens might be harder, so playing it up in the air might get the ball to stop on the green better. And to be able to play a right to left shot, a draw, or a left to right shot, a fade, could just give you that accessibility to get closer to flags, to get closer to pins when they may be more tucked away. There's lots of advantages to be able to play different flights of shots. So let's start off with the low one. Let's talk about the shot that's going to give you the best advantage of playing, let's say, into wind. Now for all these shots I'm hitting a 7-iron, so just a middle iron, but a lot of these rules go for pretty much all the irons in your bag. So let's talk about hitting the low one first. There's a couple of really key factors to hitting it lower. We've got to reduce the loft of the golf club, and ideally we've got to take a little bit of speed off the shot. Speed and loft equal height. So we need to go less loft, slightly less power to get the ball coming out lower. Now, because of those factors, yes, you might want to club up. You might want to go for a 6-iron instead of a 7, and that'll also help you hit it a little bit lower. But in regards to actual setup, there's a couple of things that you can experiment with, but I'm going to start off with the first one. The one thing we cannot get by, if we want to hit the golf ball lower, we've got to make sure as we're coming into impact, we're getting the shaft leaning forward. We've got to de-loft that head. Now, a lot of players that will give you the best advantage of doing this is to start off with the shaft leaning forward, to almost preset that shaft lean. Therefore, as you come into the ball, you can have that shaft lean again. That's something really important to consider. The next thing to do is make sure when, again, you're going for a low shot, you don't hit at maximum power. So my top tip for this would be get to the feeling of trying to swing 80%. Now for some golfers, that might be actually swinging back 80% in length and swinging through 80% in length to take that power off. For other golfers, it might be doing a full swing, but just at an 80% speed compared to normal. Again, I'll let you be the judge of that. You can experiment with this. And then the final thing, and this is player by player base, ball position. Typically, I was always with this kind of impression growing up as a kid, get the ball back in your stance, make sure you trap it. Now it depends on your type of swing. If you hit down on the ball a lot already, that might not suit you. So experiment with ball position. I now play my ball position if I'm trying to hit it lower, just back from center. I don't go as extreme to the right foot anymore. So main things, shaft leaning forward at impact, and we're going to hit the ball softer, 80% speed. As I mentioned, I've just got the ball back from center. That way we can hit the ball much, much lower. That'd be absolutely perfect if we're hitting it into the wind and I've got to try and flight it lower. That's low done first. Shot number 2, the high shot. Now I like this one because it gives you options when you're playing on the golf course. If you've got to try and, again, get to a pin that's on a firmer green. Let's say you've got to send it up in the air, and the advantage is that the ball comes down steeper and lands quicker, stops quicker. Now to play it higher, we're going to focus on 2 things. We're going to add loft, we're going to add speed. There are 2 main objectives here. So when we look at setting up with again, I'm hitting 7-iron for this demonstration. As I'm setting up to my golf ball this time, I'm not, like the low shot, going to try and lean the club super far forward. My main objective here is to have the shaft pretty much level at address and the ball position just in front of center, so slightly further forward than normal for me. So I'm not going to get the shaft leaning forward, I'm adding loft, and then I'm going to add speed. Like, we don't want to back down on this, we want to hit this one fast. Yes, it's a bit more of a risk when you add speed, granted, because the strike might be jeopardized, but if you want that big towering flight, that's something you've got to consider. So loft, we're going to make sure we swing with speed, and then the final little nugget of information, this is a really good one as well, is get the sensation that you're going to finish with really high hands. Try and finish with hands much higher in your finish position, because it'll help change your angle of attack to help you hit the ball much higher. So I'm going to add loft, add speed, and finish with super high hands. And compared to the first shot, that has gone unbelievably higher. Notice something as well, let me show you this very quickly. This was the first shot, and I've actually replaced the divot now, but that was my first shot, the divot I took, and I'll replace that again in a minute. Because I was hitting down, I've taken more of a divot. This, the divot from my second shot, notice how it's much more shallow. That is me finishing with my hands higher, causes this more shallow angle to help me hit the ball up in the air. So shot number 3, the fade. The shot that will start left of my target and finish back on my target. Typically a fade will fly nice and high. It'll be a really controlled shot. Now, I'm going to caveat this, it's not my favourite shot to hit in the world. I'm much more programmed to hit a draw, but I will obviously show you how to hit the fade and how I would also adapt my setup for a golfer who struggles to hit a fade. Now, the main 2 goals that we're looking for is the swing path has to be moving to the left of our target. We've got to be cutting across the golf ball with the club face aiming slightly to the right of that path. If we can get that kind of set of ingredients, the swing going to the left and the face slightly open, that's where we're going to create that curvature and that flight. Now to do that with a fade, if I'm going towards a target, my target's just down the middle of the fairway there. As I set up to this golf ball this time, I'm actually going to slightly move my body alignment more to the left. So I'll set up my feet and my shoulders and my hips. I'm just getting my body alignment slightly more to the left-hand side, because that's going to help me swing more across my body. The other big thing to do when trying to hit a fade is make sure the face doesn't wrap over or rotate too quickly. You don't want this club face closing as you come in to hit the ball. Ideally, you want the face to be staying nice and square and neutral, slightly open as you hit through the shots. You've got to bear that in mind. You've got to make sure that your hands or your arms aren't being too active. You've got to have the sensation that your hands and your arms are being very passive through the ball. And that's why it's a much more controlled shot, this fade. So I'm going to aim my club just slightly left of my target line. I'm going to aim my body more to the left. So my body is going much more towards the left side of the fairway here. I'm going to have this feeling that I'm going to swing from out to in. So I'm going to cut across the golf ball and keep that face nice and neutral, nice and passive to hit that fade. So as you can see, moving, starting up the left-hand side, moving back towards fairway. It's a really controlled shot. It's one of the best fades I've hit for a while. Really controlled shot. Gives you the advantage again to attack pins that are slightly closer to the right side of the green. Good option to have. So this shot is the draw. The one that starts to the right of your target and then curves back towards your target. It's a very, very desirable shot. I think for a lot of, certainly golfers who maybe their more tendency is to slice it or to curve it to the right, to hit a draw is like a dream. I'm going to show you a really simple way of how to do it. Now the important factors here again is face and path relationship. They're the 2 things that are going to help you hit this draw. If we want to start the ball and we want to draw it, we've got to make sure that our swing direction is going towards the right hand side. You've got to be hitting more from in to out with the face slightly left of that line. So if I draw a straight line going towards target, our club's got to be moving from the inside of the golf ball more to the outside. And again, the club face has got to be just left of that line. If we get the face too far left, you're going to curve it more to the left because it'll start too straight. So making sure we swing to the right hand side with the face slightly closed. Now to help with that, we'll just change setup. If I was aiming dead straight and hitting a straight shot, my alignment would be straight. But because I'm not trying to do that, I'm trying to hit a draw, I'm going to look at getting my alignment, my feet, my hips, my shoulders, more favouring the right hand side of this fairway. I'm then going to preset just slightly, preset the club face slightly to the left of that. So the face is still technically right of our target, but it's aiming slightly left of where my body alignment is going towards. Now for this here now, we're going to make sure as we get to the top of the swing, we make a change to the swing and we drop it more from the inside and get that feeling even before you hit a shot more from in to out. And this time, I'm not opposed to allowing the club face to rotate slightly, getting the toe of the golf club to slightly rotate using your forearms will help keep that club face left of your path, but still working on it being slightly right of target. So the draw, the most desirable, I like hitting a draw, it's my favorite shot to hit. I'm going to set up to the golf ball, I'm going to slightly alter my stance so I'm aiming more to the right, my feet, my shoulders, my hips. I'm going to slightly, only a slightly, almost a degree if that, slightly close the face inwards. I'm going to swing long down the line of my feet and allow the club face to react with the path to create that curvature. And as you can see there, it started up the right hand side and then finished right next to my other 4 shots, if I'm honest. I've hit 4 shots there. Low, high, fade and draw. Give you the instructions of how to do it. Really good tools to have in the bag. Guys, if you've enjoyed that video, make sure you smash like. Subscribe to the channel, it's free to do. Got loads of reviews to help you play better golf. Loads of coaching to help you understand the golf swing a little bit more and again, reduce that score. We'll see you next time, guys. That's the 4 shots. They'll really help you play better golf.